I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch One, and thanks for logging on. It's that time again. There's a new Bond movie out, this time Spectre, but we're looking back to the glory days of Pierce Brosnan in 2002 with this Omega Seamaster Professional 300-meter James Bond 40th anniversary limited edition of 10,007 pieces. 41.5 millimeters in brushed and polished stainless steel. You can see this 007 commemorative on our website, watchyouwant.com. Take it home, purchase it if you like, and if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Watch You Want Inc. On my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, you can see that this Seamaster Professional 300 meter wears like the classical Brosnan Seamaster. Non-coaxial, very thin at only 12 millimeters thick for a sports watch. That's an impressive thickness that plays well on a smaller wrist like mine. Now lug to lug, it's 47.5 millimeters, and you'll note how from any angle it looks nice and flat and flush against the skin. It does have a sloped semi-conical bezel, so with a relatively low case flank, you can wear this one with a tuxedo, Bond style. It'll have no trouble fitting under a dress cuff, and I know because having been a longtime owner of an original Seamaster 300 from the Brosnan era, I've worn it with everything from swim trunks to a tuxedo. Now the nice thing about the watch is that the bracelet is among the finest ever made. It wasn't just one of the best of its time, it's one of the all-time greats, and it's considered to be the bracelet that largely forced Rolex to rethink the quality and the substance of its oysters. Now, the classic 5-link design with contrasting finish, you can see alternately brushed and polished, remains just as silky smooth on the skin as ever. And I should also mention that in every respect, this example looks a million times better than 99.9% of the Seamaster 300s I've seen from this era, my own included. You can see the crispness of the colors, nothing faded, nothing sun-bleached. That red seconds hand tip usually fades to orange by now. This one looks like it's been in a vault since Die Another Day came out. You can also see the bezel, unmarred, not just unscratched, but again, undiminished in intensity. It still has that beautiful cobalt blue. And all of the features of the Luminova, the printing on the dial, and the gloss 007 recurring motif look factory fresh, incredibly crisp. And that's true of the entire bracelet and the case. I can't overemphasize that on a watch like this with so many contrasting finishes, and a clasp, brushed of course, that's vulnerable to desk diving scratches, the absence of any kind of marring element, scratches, scuffs, dents, is exceptional. These watches were priced to be worn, and when you see one like this, 13 years after the fact, almost completely untouched, you realize you're looking at a rarity. Not just a collector's piece, it remains a great luxury watch if you're looking to complete your collection of Bond watches, get into luxury watch collecting with a first reference, or just own something fun that you don't have to be afraid to wear on your wrist, because the price is right. And I can tell you, having crashed one of these into tarmac at over 20 miles an hour on a bike, they are Rolex tough, but Omega stylish. Now, the watch gives Omega value too, because I can't overemphasize that not only is the bracelet supple and soft, but the clasp remains one of the best in the business to this day. Now, milled out, it's very crisp when it closes and secure when it's closed. Twin trigger deployant, so it's always secure. It's not a clamshell, it's not friction fit, it's not going to pop open. And the dive extension, which is also milled out, remains crisp. Again, over time, some of these have been abused and they'll be a little bit too loopy, too easy to pop out. This one puts up a fight, and that tells me that it's still factory fresh in terms of its tolerance and metal retention. But you can see milled out like the rest of the clasp, this by itself feels sturdier than most parts of a Rolex stamped oyster clasp from 2002 when this watch came out. It was exemplary then, it remains exemplary now, and it remains a fantastic piece to own and wear. And like I said, this one remains incredibly crisp. Now, the nice thing about the watch is the style hasn't aged a day. A watch looking almost exactly like this debuted in 1993, and a watch looking almost exactly like this remains in the Omega catalog today in 2015. It's been worn by both Pierce Brosnan and Daniel Craig. He wore one of the 300 blues in Casino Royale. So the style remains current, it remains legitimately a Bond watch, and with a run of over 20 years, this particular style can be considered one of the most enduring in the history of the Omega Seamaster family. Very few Seamaster designs have gone this far without being completely rebooted. This one's a keeper, and Omega knows it. Now, the dial does feature a few enhanced elements that mine from the early 2000s did not. For one, all applied indices. You can see the stick and dot indices bearing the luminova are applied and high polish. You can see likewise that this one features 007 customization elements. The applied 007 logo at 6 o'clock, as well as a recurring gloss motif. Now the standard versions of this watch feature the matte blue with Seamaster waves running horizontally. The matte blue is retained, but only as a base. The 007's little Bond logos, those are a high gloss. At an arm's length, you can't see it. You have to get right up to it, but when you do, you marvel at the level of detailing. It's very well executed. Likewise, there is 007 customization on the clasp itself, and of course the case back, both individually numbered and unique to the model, celebrates the Bond connection. But what's under that case back? Well, it's the tried and true Omega caliber 1120. Pre-coaxial, you have a choice to make with the Seamaster 300s. You can go coaxial and have something that has immense horological interest, significance, and potentially greater long-term accuracy as a chronometer plus, so to speak, or you can get something that's bomber tough and go with the original non-coaxial 1120. Perhaps in Bond fashion, this one is the tougher of the two. The 1120 is a tank. Again, my own experiences sort of speak for themselves, but this watch is not just COSC chronometer accurate, it is Rolex tough. With a 42 to 44 hour power reserve, a 4 Hz or 28,800 vibration beat rate, the standard ETA 2892A2 on which it's based has been stepped up, refined to feature 23 jewels, not the original 21, and an Omega exclusive finishing. These are actually quite nicely finished beneath the screwed-on caseback. It's surprising for sort of an entry-level chronometer. Omega really went out of their way during the 90s to restore the luster to their brand, and higher content on the outside and the inside was part of the program under Jean-Claude Biver. So this Omega is a real gem inside and out. Again, hacking movement so you can synchronize it to a reference timer. It's also protected by this 300-meter, 1,000-foot water-resistant case with the helium escape valve. Now, it's become a signature of the Seamaster Professional line since the 90s. The helium escape valve at this point is more of a conversation piece than a styling element, but it is worth noting that if you want to get it from Rolex, you have to pay more than the Submariner entry fee and buy a Sea Dweller. So the fact that you get it with the price of admission for a Seamaster, a 300 Professional no less, is added value in my book. And again, it's a great conversation piece. Its capability you may never need, but like a Ferrari, it's nice to know it's there. You can own this historic, beautifully preserved, eminently wearable, and enduring Omega design. The Omega Seamaster Professional 300-meter James Bond 40th anniversary, one of 10,007, 41.5 millimeters in stainless steel. See it, take it home, and go see Spectre. But first, check out our website, watchyouwant.com.